Humanity, Season 2, Episode 1, Awake. Kelly wakes up inside the auto shop, dazed, slowly getting up with a major headache. She would look around the destroyed building, in pain, as what happened returned to her. She would turn to see Mike's dead body on the ground and would look devastated. However, her attention to Mike would be taken away quickly as she turns to Alex, who is still on the ground, knocked out and severely injured, and she would run to him. She kneels down to him and tries to wake him up. Alex, Jesus, please get up. We need to get out of here, she would say, freaking out, receiving no response. Kelly would then try to pick him up, but she runs out of strength and is way too injured to pick him up. She would turn her head to see a group of 6 infected heading her way. Unarmed, Kelly looks around and finds a rifle that was inside a cabinet, but fell out after the explosion. She would run to the rifle as the dead get closer. She would pick up the rifle and start aiming at the dead that are getting ever closer. Without bothering to check the ammo, she fires at the dead, killing each one with a headshot. She would then aim after 5 are dead at the last infected, which is going towards Alex. Kelly squeezes the trigger, but the gun clicks and is out of ammo. Kelly panics and drops the gun and runs and tackles the infected. Get the fuck away from him. She falls and the infected would begin to get on top of her. Kelly holds back the infected with all her strength. However, she is feeling too weak and she begins to get overpowered. As the infected gets close to her neck, Kelly screams for help, unable to kill it. As all hope looks gone, the infected is shot in the head. Kelly is splattered with blood all over her face as she pushes the dead infected off of her. She would get up and turns to see her father Derek holding a pistol, and William and Judy outside shooting at even more infected coming. Derek looks at Kelly and asks, "What the heck happened?" Kelly would turn to him and would stare at her father with a distraught look on her face. 2 months later, we would see the school still standing, but a lot of the kids have low morale. We would see kids sitting and walking around. Teachers would be holding guns while walking around the perimeter to keep out the dead. Inside the cafeteria, we would see Cassie in line to get food holding a tray. Her, along with other students, would be given each a small portion of a light stew. Food is low and they need the ration. Cassie walks to the table where many students are sitting together, eating in silence. No energy and no hope. Things are not going well here. Cassie walks to a table where Alex, Kelly, Corey, Viola, and Dean are sitting. She would then sit with them. Corey would greet Cassie as he eats the last of his soup. Cassie would say, "Here's to day 32 of eating the crap soup. Tastes like nothing now, barely even fills you." Dean would laugh and say, "Can't believe we used to complain about the pizza being stale." Viola would tell him that it's better than starving. There's very little to go around and they need to keep this place going. Cassie agrees, but says she'd kill 10 infected for a bite of pizza right now. Some would laugh, except Alex, who would stay silent, sitting next to Kelly. Cassie asks Alex how he has been holding up. Alex responds and says, same as he's ever been since he woke from the coma a week after the explosion. Corey tells Alex that he's gonna be okay. What happened with Chloe was not his fault. Alex would get visibly upset and say that Corey tells him that every day, and it is not making him feel any better about what happened. Corey says that he's sorry, he just worries about him. Alex fires back and says he worries for his sister, who is God knows where with a bullet wound in her shoulder. Dean looks at Alex and says, "Yeah, a bullet you fired." Alex would get really angry and get up and storm off. Kelly would Kelly would tell Dean that what he said was not cool, but Dean just says that he should just accept it at this point. Chloe is dead by now, and if she's alive, who won't want anything to do with her brother? Kelly would threaten him by saying that he better watch his mouth on what he says next. Dean goes silent, and Kelly pursues Alex. Alex would be standing quietly in the halls, looking upset about what Dean had said. Kelly would come up to him and say that Dean had no right to say what he said. Alex says that he didn't have the right to say that. She's right. But Dean isn't wrong. What happened to Chloe is his fault. Kelly would hug him and say he did what he had to do. Alex would tell her he doesn't feel the same anymore since he woke from that coma. The world has just changed so much. The school environment is not good either. Everyone has no morale and is too scared to do anything. Teachers tried to look for Chloe but found nothing. Kelly says that if it does not mean that she's dead. They have not found her alive, but they have not found her dead either. Alex laughs and says that it is an interesting way to look at things, glass half full. Kelly tells Alex that she is not going anywhere, and if there's anything that he needs to get off his chest, that she is here. Alex thanks her and he would kiss her and tell her that he loves her. William would come up to them with a rifle on his back. Hey Alex, Kelly, I'm heading out on a supply run with Cassie later. Was wondering if you guys would like to come. You're both very experienced and a lot of teachers are sick right now. Alex would pause for a moment and ask Kelly how she feels about it. Kelly says she goes if he does. She says that it might help his mental state to get out of the school and see what the world is like, even if it is a wasteland of the dead now. Alex says that they will go. William tells them that they leave in 2 hours and that he will give them both guns before they leave. 2 hours later, on an empty road, an infected is walking and is extremely disfigured. It would be stabbed in the head by Kelly with a knife. Kelly would turn to Alex, William, and Cassie, who are right behind her, and tell them that it's clear. The four would walk down the road. Cassie would ask where they were heading up first. William says that there's a store he saw a few days ago that has a decent amount of infected in it, but he did spot some food through a window. He says that he wishes they could find medicine there though. Alex would get an idea and say that there was a clinic that he looted before coming to the school. He said that there was quite a bit of stuff there, and maybe there's still some stuff left. Cassie says that maybe it was looted by now. Kelly would back Alex up and say that it's worth a shot to check it out. It could work in their favor. William says that they will check it out, but should split up. He tells Kelly and Cassie to take the store, as they are both good at killing the dead. He and Alex will go to the clinic. The group agrees. Alex and Kelly share a kiss, and the group splits. Alex and William would walk down the empty road towards the clinic. William asks Alex if him being out here helps at all. Alex responds by saying that it helps that he's not stuck in school for 2 months. William says he gets what he's saying, but the school is safe, even if it is boring. They're doing everything they can at the moment for the students. Alex thanks him for having his back. He just wishes Chloe could be with him. William tells Alex that he hopes he can find her one day, but right now he needs to focus on survival. Alex says maybe he's right, but he's just not sure if he can do that right now. Up ahead, there's a group of 3 infected that would come, but they look very different. They each have a huge hole through their torsos, along with guts hanging out the front. William would seem shocked by this, but quickly draws his knife along with Alex. The two would take on the 3 infected easily. Alex would get one while William gets the other 2. Alex would look at these dead infected and ask William if he had seen this before. William says he has not seen something like this before, and whatever this was, it was not an infected that did this. Alex would say that that's true unless the infected for some reason only tried to eat those people's stomachs and not the rest of them. William tells Alex to keep his eye out in case there's more of them. Alex and William reach the outside of the clinic. Alex would stab an infected with his knife while walking up to the door. He would peek inside and see no infected inside. William opens the door slowly as they head inside. William looks around the lobby to scan for any dead around, but nothing is there. William looks behind the receptionist's desk and sees a cabinet with some medical supplies inside. William tells Alex to look around for what he can find and that he will loot the cabinet and look around for more stuff after. He tells Alex to be careful, and Alex would go around to look. Alex would head into a room and find it to be devoid of supplies, but then he would notice a green survival coat sitting on a counter. Alex goes up to it and would realize, as he would lose his breath, that this jacket belonged to Chloe, and her name was on it. He picks it up as he would find out that his sister is alive, or at least she made it here and patched herself up. A piece of paper would fall from the pocket. Alex would pick it up and realize that it's actually a map of the United States. He lays it on the counter and is shocked to see a small area in Texas circled on the map. Alex lowers it in shock, knowing that he just found out where his sister is. Alex puts the map in his pocket and the jacket in his bag. He would come back to the lobby to tell William what he found. "Yo, William, you won't believe this, man." There is no response. Alex would go behind the desk and find William on the floor knocked out. Alex would go up to him and ask what's wrong, but then Alex would hear the sound of a pistol cocking as he would turn around to see a man who looks extremely messed up and crazy holding a gun at him. Alex puts his hands up, asks what he wants. The man would laugh without saying anything, goes up to Alex, and pistol whips him, knocking him out. Alex would wake up inside a room in the clinic, tied up to a chair. Alex would see William sitting on a clinic bed, strapped down with tape on his mouth. Alex asks William if he's okay, but he can't understand what he says. Alex struggles and tries to get free, but is unable to. The door to the room opens, and the man who knocked him out walks in. Alex screams at him and asks what the fuck he's doing. The man laughs and says that he's about to find out. Alex looks at the man and asks who the hell he is. The man gives us a sadistic grin and says his name is Avery and that he and his friend are about to join his other creations. Alex asks what the hell he's talking about. William tries to scream but is unable to. Avery turns to him and says to be patient as he's about to find out. Avery would open a cabinet and grab a bucket and put it on the table. He would then reach into the cabinet again and pull out a cage containing a rat. He would look around and ask what the hell he's doing with that thing. Avery again says that now is the time to find out. He would open the cage and pick up the rat, laying it on William's stomach. He would then pick up the bucket and put it over the rat, using duct tape to keep the bucket in place. William looks terrified knowing about what's about to happen and begs for the tape to be let go free. Alex begs Avery not to do what he's about to do. Avery again will let out a disgusting laugh as he would pick up a large blowtorch. "What are you gonna do, kid? The world has no laws anymore. No rules, no people to tell you what to do, no cops to arrest you, no jail cell to hold you. This is how the world is now. You could die literally any time, in any way. You might as well have fun while you can." Alex would look disgusted as if he really thinks it's fun. "The world before, you couldn't exactly hurt people without getting in trouble, but I found in those few times before the world that I enjoyed hurting people. Once the world went to shit, I realized I can do what I love without anyone to stop me, and now here we are." He would let out a sadistic laugh as Alex says that he's insane. Avery would say to Alex that he's the one who's insane for not realizing what the world is now. Avery says enough chat as he slowly begins heating the bucket with a blowtorch. William would begin to beg and cry and scream for mercy. Alex begs Avery to stop and that what's happening they won't tell a soul. Avery laughs and tells Alex to shut up. He will get his turn soon. The rat in the bucket will begin to freak as the bucket is getting really hot. Alex begs for mercy to stop, but then William lets out a blood-curdling scream as the rat would begin to dig inside his stomach, as Avery would laugh and say that William will join them soon. Alex would puke as he would notice his former teacher and now friend get torn apart from the inside. William would keep screaming through the tape as blood would flow from the bucket as William slowly and painfully dies. Alex would sit quietly, traumatized by what he had just witnessed. Avery would remove the bucket from William's body to reveal the giant hole inside his stomach. Guts would be hanging out as Avery looks at him and laughs, picking up the body and bringing it to the emergency exit in the room, opening the door and tossing the body outside. Now join them, my creation. Alex would realize that Avery was the reason those people on the road were dead, and he's the one responsible for what had happened to them. Alex would look at him and tell him that he's a monster. He saw what he did to the others on the road. What he has done is beyond inhuman, and deserves to burn in hell for all his life. Avery laughs and says that he'll be there. Alex will be there a long, long time before he shows up. Alex remembers he found Chloe's coat and screams at Avery, "What did you do to her?" Avery looks confused. "To who, kid? To who?" That Jack in the other room. "What did you do to the person who it belonged to?" Avery would realize what Alex is saying. "Oh yeah, that bitch. Feisty one, I'll say. It's funny, I've killed at least 15 people now, and she's the only one that got away. Why are you asking about her, huh?" Alex says that there's no reason for him to know, if he's just gonna kill him. Avery laughs and says that he's right, and now is his time to go. Avery tells Alex that it's gonna be okay. He has friends outside. There's a decent-sized herd forming outside as they speak. Avery gets ready to get Alex on the medical bed, but then the door to the room is rammed open. Cassie would run inside and tackle Avery. Avery would quickly get the upper hand and body slam Cassie to the floor, pulling his gun and aiming it at her. Alex looks terrified, but then Avery is shot in the arm, and Alex turns to see Kelly holding a gun, having shot Avery. Kelly runs to Alex and unties him. Kelly is too shocked to say anything. Cassie asks what the heck happened, but Kelly says they need to go. Alex walks up to Avery and picks up his gun as Avery sits on the floor holding his wound. Alex, Kelly, and Cassie run outside the clinic and enter a decent chunk of infected. The three would fight them off. Alex would shoot one in the head and kill three more with his knife, as Kelly and Cassie would shoot them with their guns. A path is clear, then they make a break for it. Kelly is grabbed by an infected under her car and falls. She's quick to stab her with her knife. Alex would go to help her, but a voice screaming, "Don't move," is heard as Avery comes outside, limping and aiming a gun. He screams and says he's gonna kill all of them. They aren't getting away. This is what the world is now, and they need to accept it. Alex looks at him and says that they are leaving, and it does not need to get ugly. Avery says he has had enough and aims his gun at Kelly, about to shoot her. Alex, without hesitation, raises his pistol and fires. Kelly would look up to see Avery drop dead to the ground with a bullet in its head. Alex is mortified about what he had just done. Infected begin to close in, and Kelly screams at Alex that they have to go. Alex lowers the gun and runs off with Kelly and Cassie. The next day, Alex sits on a bench inside the school alone. Kelly comes to him with her father. Derek tells Alex that they found William turned, and they're now burying him. Alex thanks them and just can't believe he is dead. Derek says he can't either, but he's glad he and Kelly are home safe. Kelly asks her dad if she can have a moment alone with Alex. Derek says sure and leaves. Kelly sits next to Alex and asks how he is feeling. Alex says he is not sure. He just can't believe someone could be so cruel. Kelly says that she didn't either, but Avery can't hurt anyone anymore. Alex says he doesn't want praise for what he did. He's still in shock that he killed a man. Kelly tells him that it's good that he thinks that way. She would be worried for him if he was not shocked. Alex turns to Kelly with a serious look. "I need to tell you something. It's about Chloe." Kelly looks at him and asks what. "Before I ran into Avery, I found her jacket in her room, and inside there was a map of the United States. Texas was marked on it. Texas is where she wanted to take me before the explosion, and that's where my uncle Jeff is, and I think she went down there to find him." Kelly would tell Alex that she is so happy that he found out where she is. She asks what he plans to do. Alex says that he is not sure. He can't go to Texas alone. Kelly puts her hand on his hand. "Then don't go alone. We take my dad's truck, we leave here, and we go to Texas together and get her back. Alex is pushed back by Kelly's idea. We don't know what's out there. I don't want to put you in danger. Kelly says that she has faith that they can make it. She'll grab some supplies and they can leave tonight. And your dad is just gonna let you take his truck? Kelly laughs. She says that she has the key to it and they'll be gone long before he realizes. Alex sits to ponder for a second and tells Kelly that he is in. Kelly tells Alex to meet her in the parking lot at midnight and to be careful sneaking out. Alex says he is going to get some sleep, then they can go. Later that night, Alex is laying down on a cot inside a classroom with many other students. He checks the clock on the wall and sees it's almost midnight. He slowly gets up and slowly sneaks towards the door. He hears Corey's voice ask what he's doing. Alex goes up to him whispering. Alex says he's just going to pee. Corey says he doubts he would be going to pee and sneaking off like that. Alex looks at him and says that he needs to just trust him. Look, man, I found where my sister is. She's in Texas. I'm going to find her. Corey is shocked and asks if he thinks they'll make it. Alex says he would rather die taking action than live not knowing where she is. Corey pauses and says, okay, man, I can't stop you. I would do the same if I were you. So go, man. Go find her and bring her home. Alex thanks Corey and tells him to keep living. Alex would slowly sneak off around the school, hiding from roaming teachers as he makes his way outside into the parking lot. He sees Kelly the truck but notices Judy there. Alex walks up to them and asks what is happening. Judy looks at him and says that they can't just run off, especially after what happened to William. Alex looks at Judy and says that it's not her call to make. Judy fires back and says that she's just trying to keep everyone safe. She asks where they're going. Alex says that they're going to find his sister and that they know where she is. Judy says she's happy to hear that, but she can't let them leave. Kelly jumps in and tells Judy that she promises they will be fine. Judy pauses for a second and asks if they're sure they know what they're doing. Alex says he is and begs her to just let them go. He's been struggling for months and he can't do it anymore. He needs to find out if her sister is okay. Judy sighs and tells them that they better come back in one piece. She says she can't leave them to go out there alone without any weapons. She hands Kelly a Glock. You two, what you're doing is crazy and stupid, but I'm gonna pray for you that you can make it. Good luck, you two. Alex thanks Judy as he gets in the truck with Kelly. Kelly starts to drive the truck as they drive off into the moonlight and hopes to find closure. On the next episode of Humanity, Alex and Kelly continue their journey towards Texas, but then encounter a new ally, but also are continuing to be exposed to the horrors of the new world, and are forced to put their survival skills to the test.